Welcome to Justice Unfiltered on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Cowart, along with Daniel Matalon. He is the CEO of A Second Chance Bail Bonds and A Second Chance Monitoring. How are you, man? What's up?
Doing well.
Just keeping it between the ditches?
Trying to.
As best you possibly can.
Trying to.
We've got one of the best lawyers in town. He's known as the badass attorney. I don't know that I've ever used that in this context. Noah Pines, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. It's a great introduction. You kind of left me speechless.
I didn't mean to, but do people not call you that? Am I being told a fib?
I've had a client who referred to me as a badass attorney. So.
There we go, dude. And that's the way I want to.
I do think he's a badass. So.
Well, but here's the thing. Who doesn't want that title? Be like, that Tug Cowart boy, he's a badass radio dude, or he's a badass whatever. Yeah. You know, he's a badass monitoring and bail bond guy.
Sounds pretty serious.
Yeah, man. It's an accolade,
yeah,
and
it's an accolade.
It's much better when that guy sucks. You know? Yeah, I'll take the badass every day.
There are a lot of lawyers who do suck.
Yeah.
I'm the first to admit that.
Have you run across a few?
I deal with them every day. You see them in court. I see them in some of the appellate cases I deal with, and they're just lawyers who shouldn't be representing people, you know, in high-stakes criminal defense matters.
No doubt. And you've spent 30 years in the courtroom trying cases. You understand it's better to win your case without even having to go to trial. Tell me what that means.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, you know, was like, oh, I want to go to court and, you know, kick their ass or whatever. But if you can win your case for your client before stepping into court, that to me, that's the victory. Now, what does win mean, right? People are like, how many cases have you won? How many cases have you lost? It's all relative. If you're facing life in prison and the state can prove the case and I get your probation, I count that as a win.
Yes, sir. I would imagine your client
does. Some people might say, well, the guy got convicted, that's a loss, right? But, you know.
I don't think so.
Right. I mean, you saw that with the big YSL case that was, you know, that overtook Atlanta for 2 years where, you know, lots of people pled guilty, but I think most of those people won because they didn't go to prison for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
So if I can convince a prosecutor to dismiss a case or come up with a resolution that protects my client's future, to me, that's a win. And that's how I gauge wins and losses. What does my client want to see happen in a case?
Let me tell you about Noah Pines. This dude's an endurance athlete. Well, wow. Yeah. I mean, an endurance. Are you running marathons? Are you doing Ironmans? What are you doing?
So, you know, for a long time, I don't like to consider myself an endurance athlete, but you know,
it's been written.
It's kind of like the badass part. It was written down. Yeah. So I started doing endurance events 5 years ago. There's an event that I got Facebook targeted, right? And it's called 29029. And
our producer for the morning show, Jerry, has done that.
I know we were talking about
Okay.
We know each other.
That's so interesting because I was like, what is that, your zip code? Yeah. You know, on his sweatshirt that he wore in.
Yeah, it's in a very comfortable sweatshirt. But these guys run out of ski mountain, and you climb up the ski mountain however many times it takes you to get to 29,029 feet, which is the height of Mount Everest. So you climb up, take a gondola down, climb up, take a gondola down. Oh. They do it at different mountains all over the country. There's one at Stratton, Vermont, Snow Basin, Utah, Sun Valley, Jackson Hole, Whistler. They did Aspen this year, and so each mountain depends on how many times you climb it. So my first event was Sun Valley. It was 15 times. So you're climbing up a ski mountain 15 times, taking the gondola down. You have 36 hours to complete it. I would say like the fastest, it's not a race. So anyone who calls it a race doesn't know what they're talking about. It's an event. Everybody supports everybody else. It's about 250 people who do it. I think the fastest time I've ever seen anyone do it maybe is like 16, 17 hours. And most people take over 20 hours of actual climbing to do it. That doesn't include rest, bathrooms, and all that stuff. So you have 36 hours to do it. It's definitely a test of your will, no question about it.
More mental than physical, would you say?
It's a very good combination of the two. So, you know, you have to be physically trained.
Yeah.
No question about it. You have to have your nutrition and hydration. So, you know, for me, I probably burn about 800 calories an hour. So do the math. It's a lot of calories over, you know, 20 hours of doing work.
Dude, that's insane.
And so if you're not eating, you're done. And then there's a whole mental part of it that I've seen people just give up just to give up. Most people don't. But it's incredible. There's an 80-year-old guy who did an event that I witnessed that still brings tears to my eyes. The first time I climbed with somebody who is an amputee who is climbing with a prosthetic leg, who also brings tears to my eyes every time I think of her.
Military member?
No.
No. Okay.
So, I was walking up this really steep part and kind of feeling sorry for myself, and I looked over to Mona and I was like, what am I complaining about? Like, I got 2 legs. She's got 1 prosthetic leg and is really doing so much more work than I've done. I've seen people try it multiple times and fail. It's an amazing event, and it taught me a lot about myself, and that was the beginning of my endurance event training. So, I mean, it's 20-plus weeks of training is the plan they give you if you don't show up trained.
So if I wanted to get into this,
we'll sign you up. Sign up for next week.
I am like, this has me so mesmerized right now. I am like locked in on this. So what do I do if I'm someone that knows nothing about this?
Yeah, it's first time.
How do I? Who do I go see?
Their website is.
What's the website?
Yeah, the website is 29029 eversting.com, I think. Eversting, as a Mount Everest. But if you just search 29029, you'll find it. It's an incredible community of people. Again, there is no who's the fastest. In fact, people cheer for the people who are the slowest.
Wow.
When people come up at hour 35, and they are finishing if you finish, you get a red hat. So if they finish and get a red hat, or they don't finish and you're still climbing hour 35, the tears just come down because.
So there's a live registration happening in 3 days. I'm assuming you will be part of that.
I'm taking the year off. I've done 5 events total, but it's a lot of training. And so for that, I'm going to take the year off and just kind of enjoy my summer instead of training 20 weeks.
I'm blown away because I would be more like a Snickers commercial.
Yeah,
where the Snickers commercial is like it was the dude that's always the bad guy, and he's in the Brady Bunch, and he's like slamming an axe through the table, and they're like, Marsha, calm down, have a Snickers, and he turns back into that would be me. I would be there's not a chance.
You get to eat all the Snicker bars you want.
I guess that would be
good. When you're training like that, dude.
I guess that would be good.
Eat anything.
I'm just so surprised by all of it. I'm so blown away by all of it.
That's really cool.
I don't know that I have the mental toughness to do it.
Well, I mean, I always tell people if I can do it, you can do it. So, I mean,
when you did the first time, you did the first time, you were probably like, okay.
So the first year I signed up, the event got canceled because of COVID.
Oh, wow.
And my wife and I were like kind of following the training plan, but not really. We were like, we do Orange Theory. We do this.
We can do this. It'd be no problem.
We don't really need to follow the plan. And then the next year, after it got canceled, we followed the plan, and thankfully we did. And it's you can't show up to an event not trained. The same way you can't show up in court not prepared.
Well, it's funny you were about to say, how do you feel like that translate? Why do you think that prepares you so well?
Sure. I always say that, like, kind of stepping into the courtroom is like stepping into a boxing ring, right? No question about it. You're there. There's rules. You're, sometimes duking it out, and somebody comes out a winner. So a lot of times both parties get battled, beat up, even if a winner is declared. But you have to be prepared. There's no question that what makes me different, I would say, than most lawyers is my level of preparation. It's something.
If you're preparing like that to run up a mountain 15 times, I can only imagine what you do in your professional life, where it's your reputation's on the line. Well, everybody's pulling for you. In the courtroom, they're not.
Yeah, and it's more than my reputation. It's my client. It's my client's life. When I was a prosecutor, it was obviously standing up for the victim and what the defendant allegedly did. But you have to be prepared. And so when I get to an event, I'm calm because I know I'm prepared. When I get into court, I'm calm because I know I'm prepared. I know I'm also more prepared than the other side. I don't think you might have a better case, you might have better facts, but you're not going to be more prepared than I am. I don't think there's ever been a time when I've been like caught off guard by something that the other lawyer brought up because I haven't thought about it. So, if I'm showing up to trial, it's not just like I read the file. It's meticulous preparation, which I kind of do the same way in every case, but it's also thinking about every possible thing. There's so many variables when you go into court, because a lot of times clients will be like, well, tell me what's going to happen. I'm like, impossible.
I have no idea.
It's just impossible to explain
like
how it's going to happen. There's variable after variable after variable that I've hopefully thought about in my head, and that way that, when I'm going to court, I have it covered.
I'm fascinated by this because I want to know, are you able to see when somebody is not prepared across from you? Do you know it immediately, or does it kind of leak out? Because you know what kind of preparation you put in. Are you able to see it when someone's not?
100%.
Yeah.
That
makes
instantly.
sense.
Instantly, 100%.
Instantly.
And look, I hate to say the older I get, but it is kind of weird.
That's how we get there, though.
It's been
through experience.
30 years, and it kind of, when you think about this, my son's actually a third-year law student.
Oh, that's cool.
And he's going to hopefully join me next year. But I was talking to a friend of mine whose son goes to school with my son. Okay, so my friend and I work together as young prosecutors. Our sons are friends in law school.
That's
our kids are the same age as we were when we first met. And
Dude,
to be able to look at our kids and be like, this is when we met, like that was a long time ago. And
in full circle now.
Full circle,
Yeah.
right. But, one of the things I learned from my first boss when I was a prosecutor is you got to be prepared. You got to do the work. You got to make sure you've thought about everything. And it's almost, I don't want to say it's obsessive, but it's, before a trial, all I'm thinking about is possibilities. If this happens, how do we do that? If this happens, how do we do that? And so I've already mapped it out in my head. The same way when I showed up the first year to a 29029 event, I saw myself with a red hat at the top. So you're like, is it mental? It's mental.
I would imagine.
But I saw myself with a red hat at the top.
Put yourself there.
As a guy that was in the Navy, and I saw some guys go off to buds, you know what I mean? And I'd seen them prepare, and then to see them fail and then go back and try it again.
Right.
Like that is endurance that most people don't have.
Well, and if you know people who've been in buds, you know that it's not the physically strongest who always
That's
survive.
where I was actually going.
It's the mental people.
Yep,
and
that's right.
I've, I don't know.
The mental people.
Yeah.
They have to be a bit
But
crazy.
it is. Yeah.
But it's
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, no, I don't know if you know who Chad Wright is, but Chad Wright's ex-Navy SEAL who's now an endurance athlete and has his own podcast. But I've heard him speak many times, and he would talk about the people who would go ring the bell. Mm-hmm. And he's like, those people were physically stronger than I was, but he just sort of took it like
stronger.
Day by day, hour by hour, sometimes minute by minute. Yep.
I've heard those stories so many times, and was fortunate enough to be stationed aboard USS John F. Kennedy. I was attached to Commander Carrier Group 6, but we had a SEAL battalion attached to the Admiral staff. Those dudes are pretty impressive, man.
Oh, yeah.
They're the most impressive people I've ever seen in my whole life. This is Justice Unfiltered on Extra 106.3 with Daniel Matalon of a Second Chance Bail Bonds and a Second Chance Monitoring. Our guest, Noah Pines. You can find him at Noah Pines, NOAH, PINES on X. He used to be known as Twitter. That's where you can find him. Or Noah H. Pines on LinkedIn if you're looking for him. When we come back, even though you do defense work, I want to see how you get offensive in that lane when we come back on Justice Unfiltered. Welcome back to Justice Unfiltered. My name is Tug Cowart, along with Daniel Matalon of a Second Chance Bail Bonds and a Second Chance Monitoring. Our guest this morning is Noah Pines, and this is a guy that's been called a badass attorney by his clients. I don't know that I've ever said that on the station. I don't know that I've ever said it about a lawyer. But when your clients call you that, I feel like I am obligated to tell you who you're hearing from here on Justice Unfiltered. You are in legal defense.
Right.
But
criminal defense, yep.
Yep. But that doesn't mean you don't go on the offense while you're defending someone. How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, most criminal defense lawyers just kind of wait and let the prosecutor bring the case to them. And there's lots of things in the law that we can use offensively. There's lots of laws that, we can use offensively. The easiest one is immunity. I always say that if there's a fight, the winner goes to jail and the loser goes to the hospital. Doesn't matter who started it. That's just the way it works, right? You get punched in the face, Daniel, you punch somebody back harder, they knock their head, they go to the hospital, you get arrested because you won, right? Won.
Yeah, won the fight anyway.
Use some air quotes there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. There's immunity statutes that say if you're defending yourself, you can't be prosecuted, and so a lot of times criminal defense lawyers, they're not creative enough, immunity is easy because there's a statute that says that. There's lots of other statutes that give us the authority to challenge what prosecutors are doing. And, that's something that you can do. Now, that doesn't mean you necessarily have to be aggressive with it. It just means you find the law and use it instead of a shield to protect your client, but as a sword, to help vindicate your client. And there's lots of other things that lawyers can do to be creative to do that. So I file a lot of motions that, if we win the motion, we can win the case. Sometimes I file the motion knowing we're going to lose the motion, but it gives the prosecutor a preview.
Just something else to think about.
Of how crappy their case is. I recently had a case where my client's in jail. The prosecutor wouldn't give him bond. So we have a preliminary hearing, which is just a hearing to see what the evidence was. Midway through the hearing, I was like, looked at him, he's like, I'm going to give your client bond. Because he realized that what was on paper wasn't really what was happening in the case, and his case was not good. And it's good when you have a prosecutor who realizes that. It's harder these days. Prosecutors they're moving offices. Daniel can tell you that they when I was a prosecutor, it was really tough to get a job in a district attorney's office. Typically what you do is you'd start in the solicitor's office, you'd handle misdemeanors for a couple years. Maybe if you were lucky, you'd move up because, not many people left prosecution. Now I know prosecutors in the metro area who've been in 4 offices in 5 years. They just move all around. It is crazy. It's easy to get a job as a prosecutor.
It's kind of like the college football portal, when they open the portal.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened here. It's like, and he's so right, because I used to you could have your phone and it's like all my contacts, like so-and-so works at so-and-so. Now it's like nothing I have in my phone is even right. It's like the name's right and that's about it. Because
it was rare that people would move offices. And if they did, it was, long term. Now it's like ping pong.
Did I miss something on the why?
It's a good question. If you ask me, the why is a couple of things. One, offices are too political now. I had 2 bosses as prosecutor, Ralph Bowden, who was my boss as solicitor, and J. Tom Morgan, who was my boss when I was DA. Technically, I had 3. I worked for Paul Howard for a really short period of time, but I don't count it because I didn't like working for him. I didn't think he was ethical and ran an ethical office, which is why I got out of there as quickly as possible. So I don't really count Paul as a boss because he didn't teach me the right thing to do. But there were no politics back then. Now everything's very political.
Everything.
It's very political.
It is. Everyone's afraid to make a decision. And
right.
I think it's with other job markets, people are like, we'll just move around. We'll just see what happens. And
I'll become a free agent.
Free agent.
And take a new job.
And then if you're experienced as a prosecutor, you can go anywhere because you know how to try a case. There's so many prosecutors out there who don't know how to try cases, which is scary because that's their job. Their job is to try a case.
That's where you learn to try a case.
Yeah.
No, let me ask you, are you friends with any prosecutors?
Oh, yeah.
See, because I think that's always intriguing for people because you can go in and present your case and battle it out. And then later, it's okay to be friends. It's no different than sports, right? People are banging. Maybe it's football, and you're going at each other like crazy. But after the game, you're still okay with each other.
The last 4 big cases I tried, I became better friends with prosecutors after the trial than I was before.
Wow!
Because I
wouldn't have expected that.
Because if you try a fair case and you're prepared and you're ethical, that's how it happens. Now, does that mean I'm friends with every prosecutor?
No, I get that.
Does that mean I ever put my client at risk because of a friendship or a relationship? Absolutely not. In fact, there was some LinkedIn post that some guys talking about burning bridges and how it's fine to burn bridges. I'm like, why would you burn bridges? That makes no sense. It doesn't mean you're hurting your clients. It means you're helping your clients. I know a lot of lawyers who they don't only burn them, you know them too, Daniel, they blow them up.
That's right. We don't want it to burn down slowly. We want to explode it Wile E. Coyote style.
It's like your Navy guys. They implode it.
Yeah.
That doesn't help. That doesn't mean that you're helping your client. I think my clients get better offers than most other people because the other prosecutor knows I'm going to be prepared. They know I'm talking about the law and I understand it. They know if I tell them something, it's not bullshit, it's real. That doesn't mean we always agree on everything. We'll go into court and we'll fight things out, but you can fight things out in a professional manner and not make it personal. There's really nothing personal in what we do, in my mind. There's a Court of Appeals judge who put together a continuing legal education earlier this year up in North Georgia knows judges, prosecutors, defense attorneys, people from probation, people from the Department of Corrections. Next year we're going to have you there, Daniel. We're hopefully going to make it bigger.
Yeah,
but it's reality is a lot of what we're doing is trying to make the system better, which is what we're supposed to do. It doesn't mean we agree on everything or we can't agree to disagree, because that happens all the time. But if we had a case, if you were a prosecutor, I wouldn't say I had a case against you. I'd say I have a case with you. You have your part of the case. I have my part of the case. We're going to see if we can resolve it. If we can't, we'll take it to court.
Can I ask you a practical question?
Sure.
By the example that you brought up, when you said you punched somebody, or you got punched, you punched back, and now you're in trouble. What are you supposed to do in that situation? This is just me, random question, because everybody's got this. Like, if you get punched, man, you're not supposed to defend yourself?
You are supposed to defend yourself. Hopefully someone has it on video for you. You got a friend there. You make sure the cops know that it was in self-defense. If you read 100 police reports with this scenario, you'd see that I'm right 99% of the time. Truly. That where the person who loses, always goes to the hospital, gets hurt worse, and the person who wins always gets arrested.
That's what I'm saying. That seems like a bad situation for you. Yeah. Because if you're just walking along and somebody takes a pop shot at you or mistakes you or accidentally thinks you're somebody else, and you're going to defend yourself. And I think it's terrible that you're going to end up in court because you've defended yourself. In reality, we need better training for police officers. And I'm friends with a lot of police officers. Sure.
Now, if you assault them, they're going to pull out their gun or their taser, and they're going to shoot you.
Yeah.
But they don't have that same mindset when it comes to making arrests for some reason. And this happens in domestic cases all the time where, typically the man gets arrested, right? Yeah. The man gets arrested. There's so many police reports where it's like the woman's like, I hit him with whatever and he hit me back.
Yeah, that should be self-defense, right?
He gets arrested.
Why? Help me understand this.
I think you're going to have someone else in for that podcast to answer the why.
You have to pause that and then pick it back up.
Okay, all right.
I can just tell you it happens.
Enough. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I love the fact that you come in and you're so prepared that people are like, you know what, I was going this route with this guy, but now I realize what he has done, what he's capable of. I'm going to pivot this way, and it works out for your clients better. That is the reason you get prepared. I love that, because if you go in and you're the guy that's depending on the lawyer, and you've picked the wrong lawyer, man, you are screwed.
See it happen all the time where lawyers don't do what they're supposed to do for their clients. I do a lot of appellate work, so people who've gotten convicted and sent to prison, typically the people I represent on appeal have been sent to prison for the rest of their life.
Oh my God.
And then you find like all the mistakes that those lawyers made, and you're just like, I don't even know how they made the mistake.
We tell people, and obviously we can't send people to refer people to lawyers or anything like that, but I tell people, I say, and this goes back to being prepared. I mean, if you get arrested, the first thing you're going to do is prepare for your defense. Well, that's going to be calling a lawyer, right? Figuring out who you're going to use. Well, but look, not everybody's going to do it. But I mean, the fact that the preparedness is such a big part of my life now, and it never used to be such a big part, but it is today as I've kind of evolved through life. But it's huge in what we do in the success of everything.
Yeah.
Going back to practical questions, how should people be being choosy and selective? How should they choose their lawyer? Because they don't, unless they hear this, they might not know you're the most prepared guy. What is it that would be the dead giveaway when you're in the situation that Daniel just described and you're having to go find that lawyer? How do you do it?
Well, number one, and I know some people advertising's fine. If you're in jail, you get arrested and you get jail mail, which they don't even do anymore. Jail mail used to be you got arrested, you get something in the mail going, hey, I heard you got arrested. Why don't you call my office? Now they don't even do jail mail. They text you. They text you. Somehow they buy a list. These law firms buy lists from the sheriff of who gets arrested. So you get arrested, you get a text saying, I heard you need a lawyer. Why don't you call us? Don't hire that person. Don't hire anybody who does jail mail, okay? They're sending out thousands and thousands hoping to get one person.
You're just fishing.
Correct. Don't do that. If a lawyer ever tells you this is easy, I 100% guarantee it. Don't you worry at all. Run away. I was on the phone with a lawyer, you know, and he was calling asking for advice for something, and he had said something like, about this case and his case he had, and I just said, look, remember the kiss of death is to ever say like there's no way I'm going to lose this case.
Right.
That is the kiss of death.
That is it.
Don't ever say that. Any lawyer who says that to their client doesn't know what they're talking about. Every case is
I'd be
losable.
scared if I was the defendant. I heard that.
But people want to hear it. So you call me and you say you're going to say
you're scared to death.
Are you going to guarantee me whatever? So you ask me that question. Do you guarantee me whatever? And I say no.
Yeah.
And I said, if you want a lawyer who's going to lie to you, go call somebody else.
I'm going to tell you the truth.
First of all, I can't guarantee you something. That's impossible. Second of all, it's unethical for me to guarantee you something because I can't do it.
It'd be like a financial planner. Guarantee you some sort of
X amount of return.
And they can't.
At least a financial planner can say, I guarantee you 2% return if we invest in T-bonds. T-bonds where they're guaranteed at 2%.
Right.
I can't,
there's no guarantees.
I'm dealing with people, right? I'm dealing with prosecutors and judges and juries. I can't guarantee you how anyone's going to act. I can give you a pretty good idea. I can tell you the good parts and the bad parts. But so anytime someone says, I guarantee, run away. When lawyers don't communicate with their clients, they don't show up in court on time.
But that's the thing. If you're a guy that just has no idea, how are you going to know any of those things? I mean, you talk about
I might have to do a podcast and tell people what to do.
Hey, you can find him at Noah Pines on Twitter. It used to be Twitter, now called X. But that's what I'm saying. That I think people get caught. Nobody's preparing on the front end for a lawyer because you don't realize you need one. Like, I'll give you an example. My son got a speeding ticket up in North Carolina. I had to ask some friends, hey, who should I call? But I had seen that jail mail you're talking about. I got text messages. My son got text messages. We got so many letters coming to our house, and I was like, how would they even know?
Yeah.
And there was, for just a split second, we're like, well, maybe these people know, but they're up there. We're here. Maybe they know. I'm so glad that we relied on somebody that we trusted to get a good lawyer instead of doing that. But in that moment, you just don't know.
Yeah, and I always tell people, like, don't panic. People want to panic. They want to hire the first person.
Well, it's because you're scared.
And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, this isn't buying a car. Like, I'm not pressuring you. Mm-hmm. Take your time. Think about it. And the reality is, a lot of lawyers would say I'm stupid because that's turning away business, but
You'd rather get the right business.
I want the right clients. Yeah. I want the right business. Sure.
But are you in a place in your career you can do that? Are younger lawyers able to do something like that?
Well, I am in a place in my career where I can do that, but I've always done that.
Okay.
I mean, that's always just the way that I've worked, and I think, so I've done it I've been in private practice now for 3 years. Mm-hmm. So I've done it for the last 23 years.
Yeah.
This is how I'm going to do. I mean, this is who I am. So I'm not going to change who I am just to get business. Sure. I'm not going to lie to people to get their money. Yep. I don't want that. Because
it's coming back around, right?
Oh, yeah.
What does it say? What comes around goes around.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. How do you know Daniel? How did y'all connect?
I'm trying to think when we connected. It's been a while. We've known each other for a long time. He's helped get a lot of my clients out of jail. I mean, that's the easy answer is we can't recommend bonding companies the same way they can't recommend lawyers. We can tell people, who's on the list for the sheriff's department to make sure that they are, approved. Because in Daniel's business, you'll find out some people try to get people out of jail who aren't approved. But when it comes to when it comes to a lot of my clients who have serious charges, some bonding companies don't want to deal with them. And so, Daniel's always been good to talk to my clients. He has a lot of my clients who've been on ankle monitor. He's handled some high-profile clients of mine. And, he's just his business, and I'm not just saying that because he's here. He's kind of the star in this business right now, the bonding business.
Yeah.
And a lot of the bonding companies don't act as above board.
So here's the next question. How do you, if you're going to court and your client has a monitor on, how do you make them not look guilty in that situation? Because say what you want. It makes you look guilty.
Just because you're wearing a monitor?
Yeah.
I mean, if
I'm jury,
well, you're not gonna know. I mean, you're not gonna know.
Okay.
We're gonna make sure that you can't see it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what was it? The
And there's alternatives now. I mean,
now you can have a watch.
There's a
bracelet.
that band that he's got on that the band that could be GPS. That band
This might be GPS.
I mean, you could. There's all kinds of things, app-based technology now where they can do the tracking, and you can use smaller. I mean, there's just different. There's different technology out there.
It's not the way it may have used to have.
Ultimately, it's success, right? We want, even for these people to get out. I mean, I want success for these people, even people that are literally on their last straw. I mean, we try to just give them at least resources to just make that next phone call sometimes, or whatever the case is. But yeah, it's definitely.
And luckily, knock on your wood here, I haven't had a client with an issue with a monitor. I've never had one cut one off. I've never had one go MIA.
Yeah, we have had really good success with you for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny that you pointed out the double, because I thought it was watches. I even wrote myself a note. Ask about the double watches.
No, right.
This is a watch. This is a Whoop.
Dude, you're talking to the endurance master right now.
But I can't see it. The only thing I can see is the backside. I was like, why is he wearing two watches? That's weird.
Because he's tracking everything that's going on right now.
All the calories, all the steps.
Yep.
I'm actually going to go for a run when we're done today, which is why I'm wearing this watch. And this is a Whoop.
What?
You know what a Whoop is?
I don't know what a Whoop is. No.
So Whoop, and there's no face on it, but it's more of a health monitor band that I
like blood pressure, heart rate, that
blood
kind of
pressure,
stuff?
does heart rate, does HRV, which is heart rate variability, which is mine is horrible. Tells you how you're sleeping, and also puts what your strain is for the day and recovery.
So do you have to charge that one, or is that like every so often?
It lasts for a couple weeks, but
see, that's good. Yeah, because that was my problem with some of those, is the charging.
I used to run without a watch, so I never ran before I was in essence 50, and then when I signed up for 29029, I started running, and so and then I never ran with a watch, but now I like to run with a watch. But my first year, I was like, all right, so. Started running a little bit, and then in 2020 I had like a goal of running, walking, or biking 2,000 miles, which is basically like 6 some odd miles a day. So I could walk the dogs, run, or if I was being lazy, I could just do a Peloton run, bike, and that would get me my miles. So the next year I was like, all right, what am I going to do next year? So then I was like, well, I'm going to run. This would have been maybe 2021, maybe. I was like, I'm going to run 52 5Ks. So not official races, but run.
But just in the neighborhood.
Go run 3.1 miles 52 times once a week. Totally doable, right?
Yeah.
So I did that. I actually started like a Facebook group.
I don't think I want to do it, but it is totally doable.
I started a Facebook group, and the rules were you define run. To me, run is run, but some people want to walk it. That's cool, Rule number 2 was
never talk about Fight Club. Run club.
Rule number 3 was no a-holes. Rule number 2 was, what was? Oh, if you do more, it doesn't count. So if I did 10 miles, it still counts as one.
You couldn't come in and brag about it.
Couldn't be like, I ran 30 miles, I did 10, right?
Yeah.
Those are the
and that counts for next week.
Correct, right. And then, so the next year, so I did that. The next year, I was like, all right, well, what's harder? To me, a 10K is harder. So I added 52 10Ks. So I did one 5K, one 10K, and I started a group and ran it until this is the only year I did it like 4 years in a row. I didn't do it this year because I was training for something else. But one of the things at the end of the year was, and I added a 4th rule because, like, let's say Daniel was in my group, and Daniel's like, well, I only ran 32, and I'd be like, there's no, I only did.
We're kicking you out.
No, because 32 is amazing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 32, yeah.
Because 32 is amazing. Like, think about it. If you're like, I couldn't do that, right? Well, how many 5Ks have you run this year?
0.
Okay. So if next year...
I got to get to 1
if
or 2.
If next year you did 10, that's a pretty good deal, right?
Well, that's a heck of a jump. I don't think I'm jumping that far.
I mean, 10,
I'm not jumping that far.
1 a month and take off 2 months? You could do that.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
maybe. Yeah, I love it. When we come back here on Extra 106.3, I want to ask you about the changes in technology in the field that you work in, and then obviously, Daniel, you'll have some input there too. But I want to ask you about terms and conditions. next. On Justice Unfiltered, my name is Tug Cowart. Our guest is Noah Pines, criminal defense attorney here in town, and Daniel Matalon of A Second Chance Bail Bonds and A Second Chance Monitoring. Welcome back to Justice Unfiltered. My name is Tug Cowart, along with Daniel Matalon of A Second Chance Bail Bonds and A Second Chance Monitoring, and the reason that we do this show. And we have our own badass attorney, Noah Pines, in with us. You can find him at Noah Pines on Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, now known as X, or you can find him Noah H. Pines, Pines, on LinkedIn. Before we get to the technology changes in the world that you live in, and Daniel as well, you were talking about the monitor you wear, because I thought it was a watch earlier, and you said, what's it, a Whoop? Is that what you call it?
Whoop.
Yeah. How do you get by the T's and C's? Because most people just check the box, right? And the T's and C's are 10 miles long. Nobody reads them. Do you read them?
No, I don't read them. And
you not? Does it not worry you at all about what they're going to do with all your information once they have it? Because once you download an app to your phone, it's got access to everything.
I mean, everybody already has all your information.
You sound like my wife. My wife says the same thing.
This is what I learned in law school. Sign the contract. Every contract can be broken. Don't worry about it. Figure it out later. But I mean, what are they going to do with they're going to
I don't know.
Sell my heart rate.
I look at it like it's like when you're buying. It's like, do you want to buy the house? Okay, you got to sign the paper.
No, I know.
You want to, if you want,
what kind of car do you have?
I got an old GMC Sierra.
All right. Well, if you had a new GMC Sierra, they would know everything about you anyway.
No, I know, and the information is being You see,
we're set up no matter what. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
But at some point there has to. It just bothers me a little bit.
You have a cell phone, so
I know, and everything is trackable. They're tracking everything. I
see you have an Apple computer.
Yes,
so
I know.
Everything.
Okay, but act like if let's say it was Google, it'd be the same thing. You're not escaping it. Is there not anything that we can do to protect our privacy at all? It's just we're done for.
We're done for.
Put a fork in it. So your insurance company's going to know your heart rate and your blood pressure and all that.
Well, they're not going to know it. Well, hopefully Whoop isn't going to sell it to
but
them.
they're going to. Right. There's no doubt in my mind they're going to.
Well, they're going to see how good a shape I'm in.
Well, yeah, you, but most people are screwed.
They're going to be calling them.
I love it. But I think that's a conversation that most people.
I will tell you. I'm sorry.
No, please.
I will tell you that sometimes I text stuff and I have to just put just kidding. I'll text something and I'll be like, for the police officer who might look at my phone one day, this was a joke.
Just kidding. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have to
be very careful.
Absolutely, you do. And especially if something gets called, would there ever be something that would be called for you for discovery or something? Somebody might see
unless for some reason I got arrested and somebody searched my phone. But if you looked at my search history, you'd think I'm a serial killer.
Yeah, crazy person, right? Yeah, absolutely. But you have to research.
But my search history is related to work.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Right?
Let's talk about that technology and how that's changed the work that you do.
Yeah, I mean, so when I was a young prosecutor, you'd get a file in state court. It might be 10 pieces of paper. In superior court, it might be 30 pieces of paper. Maybe you got a cassette tape. If you're lucky, you got a videotape. Now in my cases, every single case has body cam, dash cam. So, in a regular case, I might have 10, 20 hours worth of video to watch. In a serious case, I might have 100 hours. And it goes back to that preparation, right? So I watch every video, every minute of every video. I now actually have a college intern who helps go through them.
What a great internship.
Yeah. I normally don't take interns because I'm never in the office, but I was like, as long as you can work independently, and she's been great and goes through my body cam videos and other videos, but I still watch, and I can't read what somebody else writes and rely on it 100%, because that 1/10
of a second,
one thing that could be said, or the way it's said, or when it's said, can make the difference of you spending the rest of your life in prison or not. So it is a lot of work to go through it. Prosecutors, I know, never go through it. They never go through all of it. Same thing with cell phone dumps. Now everybody gets arrested. Somehow a cop gets a warrant for everyone's cell phone. Cell phone dump. Have you ever seen a cell phone dump?
I've not, no.
I have, yeah.
Explain what that means.
So cell phone dump means they take your cell phone, they hook it up to some software, and they extract all of the data.
That seems like
tens of thousands
excessive.
Right. Now there's some more limits on what kind of searches can be done. our Supreme Court and the Supreme Court of the United States has limited these searches because what would typically happen is they just get your phone, they get into it, and they might not find evidence of the crime they're investigating, but they might find evidence of another crime.
Yeah.
So, and there are some AI things. When I say AI, it's not like ChatGPT, but there are some programs you can use to go through the phones.
Yeah.
More like even just like a lot of times the download will be in Adobe. So you can do an Adobe search. So to me, that's technically AI.
Yeah, sure.
But you have to look through all this data. And you could, again, miss one thing that would be the difference in your client's case. So it's just a lot of work now with all the data. Now, data can be good. Joey Watkins is a guy I represented. He's actually the guy who called me a badass lawyer. So Joey spent over
What's up, Joey?
I love Joey. Joey spent over 20 years in prison for a murder he didn't commit up in Rome. And Joey's case had cell phone data. And it was 2000, so it was early cell phone data, meaning like nobody up in Rome understood it. I had a cell phone case earlier than that, but nobody in Rome understood that a murder happened, in one spot, and Joey's phone, where he was in another spot. And for him to get from where his phone was to the murder scene would have taken him, in the time that he had to get there from the last time his phone pinged,
Be impossible.
he would have to drive 120 miles per hour.
And nobody's
On like 280,
Yeah.
not on 285, but imagine if I'm like, all right, I'm going to need you to drive to Decatur at 5 o'clock and you have to drive 120 miles per hour.
Ain't happening.
Right.
Not possible, because you're not going to make it because there's traffic. And so data like that can save somebody's life. He actually got convicted, but in the end, that data helped him
Clears
get
down.
his case dismissed. Yep.
incredible, man. And it really is remarkable.
That was an incredible case.
Yeah, and I'm from up northwest Georgia, so
Yeah.
I've been through Rome a few times. Yeah, I love it's my people up there. So
Yeah.
I mean, but sometimes there
was small town justice going on.
That's right.
Very
absolutely.
small town justice going on. There
it's
was
tough.
a crooked law enforcement officer up there who helped convict Joey wrongfully. And Joey spent, like I said, over 20 years in prison. So.
Crazy. Daniel, it's so important that we do the show for stories just like those, man.
Oh yeah,
And I know technology, we're running short on time, but I know technology has been a huge change in the business that you're in.
You have to pay attention to it, but not all of it's good. That's the other part,
See, and that's something that nobody says.
Yeah.
I don't think you never hear that. Everybody, technology is the greatest, AI is the greatest.
All good.
And that can't be the case. Noah, how can folks get a hold of you in case they need those services that are ultra prepared?
Easy phone number, 404-812-4305. It's my direct dial. You get me, not a secretary.
Yeah.
Not an assistant. I pick up the phone.
Like our friend Ray Judice used
all
to
the
do.
time.
Yeah,
and then my website is rossandpines.com. So ROSS and AND Pines, PINAS.com.
There you go.
And he definitely answers his phone because that's the only person I talk to.
There you go. That'll do it for us on Justice Unfiltered. Noah, thank you so much. Daniel, of course, appreciate you as always. This is Extra 1063.